So, it's Sarah Jones from Sarah Jones Law. I wanted to pop in briefly and talk with you guys about a situation that I encountered yesterday. Honestly, it's not the first time I've encountered this situation, but it's the first time in a while. So, I just wanted to kind of bring it up because I know that most people do not deal with car accidents every day. So, I'm glad that you guys do not deal with car accidents, but it is something that happens to people. So, I want to make sure that you're informed and you know what you're doing in case you're ever in that situation, or if you know someone who's in that situation who could benefit from this information. So the situation that I had yesterday is I settled two cases from young women who were involved in an auto accident. When they were initially involved in the accident, it was a very bad accident. Their car was totaled, but they are very young and they healed very well, to be honest. And when we first got the case, I told them, I said, look, your policy limits are $100,000. Policy limits basically mean that that is the maximum that the insurance company will pay out for the claim. And I said, hey, you guys can potentially get a large portion of this money if you follow the instructions, if you're honest with the doctors about your injuries, if you don't sort of hide the ball and be the strong young women that you are and say, oh, I can take it and I'm going to say the pain is a 3 when it's really a 7 and those types of things. And so during the whole representation, these were young women of color who had traditionally been taught to suck it up, that they still had to keep going. And I think that's culturally something that we have to deal with in our communities because that's something that we were taught, but then it comes to bear on us in situations like these where the young women probably did not get as much for their claim as they should have because their medical records didn't actually reflect their injuries. What they did is they went to the doctor, not every time they should have. Each one of them works. And there were days that they chose to go to work instead of going to the doctor. They didn't take their lunch break to go to treatment. They didn't take advantage of the virtual treatment options where they can treat on Zoom instead of going into the doctor's office during COVID. And we talked to them repeatedly about, it's not what we believe, it's what we can prove. And when the doctors put in the medical records that you're not in any pain and they put in there that you're completely healed, that is harmful to your case. And for you to come and tell me that you're in pain doesn't help if you're telling the doctor something different. So when we got their medical records back, it all said they were fully healed. They were completely symptom free and in no pain. All of their pain levels were 0 for the most part. And so we called them and we said, well, why did you tell the doctors that? Did you tell the doctors that? And they admitted that they had. And it was some of the same concepts I just talked about. They didn't want to be complaining. They wanted to be strong. They're young. And they didn't want to go to the doctor all the time. But that came to bear on them because you only get one bite at the apple with an auto accident. When you're in an accident and someone else is responsible for your injuries, you don't get to come back 20 years later when you're still waking up every single day in pain, or even if it's not every single day. Think about it, if you're in an accident at 18 and at 38, you wake up and your neck hurts from that accident that happened 20 years ago, you should be compensated for that. But you don't wait 20 years to get your auto accident paid out, and then there's no provision by which you can come back and say, okay, I'm still in pain, give me more money. You only get one back bite at the apple. And if you say up front, I'm not hurting, then when you're in pain 20 years later from that auto accident, you have no recourse for it. You just have to deal with it. And money doesn't fix the pain, but the purpose of that money is they say you have a permanent injury and medical expenses cost money. What if the solution to your pain is that you need massages every month, or that you need to go and get a chiropractic adjustment, or that you need to go to see an orthopedic surgeon, or need to get therapy every so often, or you need to order certain materials, or you need anti-inflammatory drugs, or you need muscle relaxers, or whatever the case may be. Those things aren't free. And even if you qualify for government insurance like Medicaid or Medicare, those things are still being paid for by someone, and you should still be compensated for your pain and suffering. So there's a lot of stuff that goes in. People think, oh, I get in an accident and I get a check, and that's just how it works. And that is how it works to a certain degree under some circumstances, but there's a lot of details that go into the mix before you get that check. And so in order to really be compensated to the fullest extent allowable, you really, really, really have to follow your attorney's instructions. I don't advise that you go through an accident where you're the plaintiff, you're the person who's injured by someone else's fault. I don't advise you do that without an accident. What the studies have shown is you take home just as much, if not more, after attorney's fees with your bills being paid with an attorney than you would without an attorney, and you're still responsible for making sure all those bills get paid. We have relationships with different treatment facilities that decrease the amount of our clients' bills so that our clients can take home more money and different things like that, different things that professionals who know what they're doing when dealing with insurance companies and auto accidents know are really a benefit to clients and people who have been injured. And it takes a lot of the stress off your back from having to deal with those things because you're not constantly on the phone, you're not missing work, you're not putting all the effort and energy that you would have to otherwise put into it to deal with something that you're unfamiliar with, in addition to the stress and pain from having been in an accident. So I really, really, really admonish people to not only hire attorneys, but listen to your attorneys, listen to your providers, because documenting your injuries along the way, early and often, in treating and doing what your doctors tell you to do is what's going to make for a fruitful claim, and it's what's going to make for better health for you in the future. And it will decrease the amount of pain that you have when you wake up in 20 years, even though you've been in this accident. Even if the accident is somewhat minor, the soft tissue of your body is very, very tender and can be affected deeply. So just make sure that as you're going through the process of being in an accident, you're informed about what you're doing and the repercussions it can have for you. Because what we really want to see is you not get in an accident, but the second best choice is for you to be properly compensated for your injuries and for your pain and suffering. And the only way for you to really do that is to listen to the instructions of the professionals who do this every day. So I hope this information was helpful to you. If you would like to contact my office, we do auto accidents throughout the state of Florida. Our phone number is 863-455-4811. You can ask for Denise, or you can get in touch with us at joneslawjustice.com.